From the liberal Northeast comes a lone voice of truth. Honest commentary in dishonest times. Think deeper with Juan Newsom. This is the Cure Radio Program. This is the Cure.
Hello. Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in again. I am Cat Hernandez, and joining me is Mr. Juan Newsom. Say hi, Juan.
Hey.
What's going on?
Hey, so I'm looking at the Drudge, and this is an article from The Sun, and it says that Trump losing female vote to Biden by historic margin. What do you think of that?
I think that this poll in particular will be historically wrong. There's no way anyone who ever threw their support for Trump is going to backpedal so much so that they get all the way back to 1980 Biden. Like, that's just not going to happen. Because let's be real, we're not voting for the 2020 Biden. We're voting for the 1980s, 1990s Biden, when he had his senses about him. And I don't think anybody is going to do that. So I would say down with this poll because it's clearly inaccurate.
Well, keep in mind that that Biden, it's the thing with this poll, it was compiled by the New York, using resources from the New York Times. So I don't really trust the New York Times polling, whether it's before the election, after the election, or months out before the election, because they're historically wrong, and
they're
they
wrong on
oversample
so many
liberals.
levels. Yeah, it could be oversampling. It could be the way the questions are asked. There's no one who could be in their right mind who would think that Biden, given his current and most recent TV interviews, radio interviews, his questionable relations or sexual misconduct with his interns from, many years ago, all of the failed policies that are now coming back to bite him from the Obama administration. There's no way that, taking into account all of who he is, all of the results that he's gotten over his policies and his positions, that anybody, men, women, whether you went to school, didn't go to school, there's no way that he will be a logical choice to lead this country in the shape we are in currently.
The thing is, the Democrats lost the middle class, and they particularly lost the white, blue-collar middle class. And Obama adding Biden to his ticket, Obama, nobody really knew what he was, except for maybe conservatives, was supposed to add Biden to kind of solidify that support. Now, he got a lot of blue-collar support, especially through the unions and so forth. But now Trump has kind of snatched that. That's the thing that that's why these attacks have intensified towards President Trump, because the Democrats know, and they're not expressing this, that Trump has stolen their base, and they're upset about it. And that's why they're trying to hold on to the African American vote.
But you know what? I just want to correct you a little bit. They never were their base. They were their subjects. You're subject to the ruling class of the Democrats, who will offer you as many things, as many money programs, as many, anything that they could take tax dollars for and create a program and show that they really care about low class, middle class, illegals, like anything that will tug at your heartstrings. Oh my goodness, look at what we have to invest in. Look at what has happened. They fuel flames, and then they come up with their spending bills that they tell you is geared towards helping the lower income, middle income families, when in fact, what they're doing is disincentivizing you from having a better life so that you can appreciate the scraps that they give you to just survive rather than live. And then they pump the fear of the other party, right? Then, because it's all, they got to mentally manipulate you in this way where they're offering you something so you could survive and you could be like at a baseline that you otherwise would not be, because you yourself are incapable, because the powers are going to hold it from you and hold you down. So we are helping you. Here, look at all the stuff we're giving you.
Well, they got new causes to rally behind now. Just look at all the cities. Look at all the cities that are being destroyed in these riots. So they have even, newer causes to kind of pull at the heartstrings, because these towns are going to be decimated after when it's all said and done.
Well, they put out their soldiers. Don't get it twisted at who's who out here.
Oh, I know.
It's not anything to do with Black lives. If you believe that anything that's going on with these riots has to do with Black lives, you are totally missing what's happening. Because at the base of all this destruction, at the onset and initiation of all this destruction, including the most recent Wendy's burn down here in Atlanta, it was white people who began the destruction. It was a white girl who initiated the burn down of the Wendy's. Why would Black people burn down Wendy's? That don't make no damn sense. Everybody was online trying to get food. That's nonsense. Wendy's. That's nonsense. Why would anybody burn down Target and Walmart and AutoZone in the neighborhood you live in? This is where you have to go to eat. But the other people who come in, the militia of the Socialist Democrat Party, they'll come in and initiate the chaos and then have you thinking that this is what we're doing now,
Cat,
total manipulation.
Cat, I see another article, and it's on thehill.com. Tight polls put the GOP on edge in Texas. So here's another example, and this is what I like to call suppressing the vote, because you see all of these articles and all of these news stories about tight polls in deep red areas, and that has to be frustrating if you're a voter and you don't really understand, or you're not getting the details of the polls and what questions and so forth. So here's another article, and I found it via Drudge.
Well, isn't it the same case that they made with Hillary Clinton?
Yeah.
And then they want to tell you that she really won the popular vote and all this other nonsense. And they haven't stopped fighting about her not being president for the past going on 4 years. When clearly, if you listen, Trump is supposed to be doing the Republican convention now is set for Jacksonville. Which is extremely exciting because, Florida is one of the states that now are totally down for Trump. They're opening back up. A lot of revenue is going to go out there. If you look from, the mayors of Miami, if you look at all the people, DeSantis, they have really stepped up when it comes to locking things down with regard to riots, but opening things up for people's freedom when it comes to quarantine. So they seem to be lockstep with the president's direction. So it's a perfect situation. Do you know that they got 800,000 requests to be at that convention? 800,000. Almost 1 million people want to go see this president speak.
That's crazy.
Kat, are you crazy? Are you insane? You mean to tell me that 800,000 people are willing to risk their corona lives to go hear this man speak? But Joe Biden is winning in the polls? Who you polling, Juan? Who you polling?
I ain't polling no damn body. I'm just trying to sit this out.
That's the Jersey in you. I'm like, when can I buy my ticket? I need to get down there. But then I thought about it. I was like, do I really want to be around 800,000 people right now?
Yeah, I know, I
Probably
know.
not.
I'm gonna watch
Oh,
it though. I'm gonna
yeah.
definitely watch the convention.
You know, the
Wow.
one thing, not to switch too fast, but the one thing that this coronavirus has taken away that many, 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 many people, especially in New York, have felt the pain of is this past weekend would have been the Puerto Rican Day Parade and the Puerto Rican
Oh
Festival.
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. I didn't think about that. That's very
Yeah,
true.
no, because it was quiet. When you get a million Puerto Ricans from all over the country descending on New York, it's like, oh God, we got to go away. Where can we escape to actually living there? And this weekend, it was so funny because a lot of my friends are like posting pictures of last year, and it's like, oh, it must be so quiet and calm, and it
Mm-hmm.
must be clean. Do you know how much trash, Juan, trash is left behind from these damn parades, the amount of barricades and police force needed to just
Mm-hmm.
direct the crowds of people. This year, they're all occupied with, rioters and looting downtown. So I guess that's why they did away with the parade. But yep,
Mm-hmm.
it's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely a huge event every year. I've been a couple of times, and
You've
man,
witnessed the madness.
yeah, I know that the people are gonna really miss the parade this summer, so it's unfortunate.
Well, yeah, especially the older folks, because there's a lot of events that are just specifically for like seniors and stuff, and they've been trapped. I know my grandmother who's 92 and her sisters have been who are 96 and 94, I think, have been trapped in their homes for the past like 3 months, afraid that they'll get sick or whatever. They're kind of over it now too. They're like, whatever, I already got it. Enough. I gotta go get some groceries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. I am ready to get into this summer with these restrictions lifted.
Well, at least
So
your state is opening up.
my state is opening up.
Yay!
Free at last.
What are some of the openings for this week?
So stores and stuff are
Groceries, I
opening
mean,
up.
not grocery stores, like clothing stores?
Clothing stores and stuff. Restaurants. So
At what, like
yeah,
25% capacity?
I don't know the exact capacity, but you can definitely eat outdoors and eat inside somewhat. So they
Nice.
still have to observe some social distancing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be cool.
You're right there. You're right
Right
there.
there. Feel like some Korean barbecue is coming. I can
Hey,
feel
the
it
first
coming.
place we went to, which was like what, 6 weeks ago. The first place we went to was sushi, and they have like the mask, the gloves, the glass or plastic plexiglass screen in front of everyone. Which, for the most part, I mean, I think they always should have had something because it's true. You do deal with the public so much that you really don't want people all up in your face. It adds another measure of security aside from just from the virus or catching something. But
Hmm.
so it's going to be super interesting. And then you're going to start seeing all the people who don't want to wear a mask, but who have
Hmm.
to wear a mask. And they'll be putting the mask on the side of their neck. They'll be putting the mask like almost on their face, but not completely covering their face.
Wow.
And then eventually you guys will like get back to some kind of normalcy. But yeah, it's gonna be funny for the first few weeks. At least it was here.
Wow. Did did you see they're vandalizing these statues all over the place, Cat.
I don't give a two shits about those damn statues. I
Oh,
half the people here did not even know they were up.
I
How
did.
many times you walked past some damn statue and you never even looked at that thing twice?
No, I noticed. I
Yeah.
always read them.
New York City is filled. Central Park is filled with statues. I used to sit on a statue. I used to be next to the statue, but unless you have water shooting out of your mouth and a koi pond on the bottom, I wasn't really paying attention to the statues. Like it's not
Hmm.
my thing. It's like whatever. They're, historical figures from yesteryear, fine. Who cares? I never even cared about what the statues represented. Never, never, never. And I guarantee you, 99.99% of the people who are out there talking about let's take them down have no clue who these characters are either.
Yeah, they are. They're even taking down some of the good characters.
They don't know. They don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
They're idiots. They're idiots driven by their emotionally charged masters who tell them white statue bad. Meanwhile, you don't know who the statue is of, why they decided they needed to put it up in the first place. Like, they can't reach that far to inquire, so they just act like savages. Like, whatever, just tear it down. Who cares? At this point, my husband, on the other hand, is like, that's history. They're trying to change history. They're trying to, dictate the narrative. I'm like, babe, do you really give a shit who this person is? Like, today, I think
I feel him.
I know, because you want to get emotionally charged also. Like, then you got to dig in on the defense. But here's how I feel. Let's say like every 10, 15 years or whatever, when the new generation pops up, right? Like the new crop of, it was millennials, then it's Gen X, and then it's Gen Z, and all these other generations. I think that we should update and change the statues, the art, the figures that are seen, because society and the generations are changing. And that could keep things interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe it's not a depiction of this person, but a depiction of what happened during a certain period of time. Not to say that we need to erase the past and keep moving forward, but like, why can't those things be changed? Why does it have to be sitting there for 100 years? Clearly what happened back then has morphed. So why can't the artwork that we see, the statues, the people that we recognize, why can't that also change with the generations? We're spending so much money on all kinds of crazy stuff now. What's the difference?
That is very true. I mean, that's one point of view, but I think it's more important in context to capture key historical moments. So for me, that would be a qualifier. If you're going to change a statue, it would have to be something that's very key and very integral into, where this country has gone from and to.
Well, but that is
point.
Okay, but be careful, because that is exactly why they're painting pictures of George Floyd all over every school building and brick wall that they could find, when in fact they haven't looked into his background, because they don't care who he was. They care how he died. That was the whole point. So in the same way that, we could be arguing about iconicizing this person who nobody knows the character of this person. They only know the jump off point that is now inflamed this whole racial divide. The same way, we don't know the character of the person that they depicted. We only know whatever activities or actions they did that, the people back then thought, let's throw up a statue, But it could be the same kind of situation. You hear about his background, what he's done, who he was, between the drugs, the violence, the criminal activity, or whatever. But that's
porn tape. Apparently, there's a porn tape out there.
Yeah.
I'm like, why y'all gotta bring up the man's sex tape? Come on, man. Come on.
But imagine who these other people are. If that's who he is, right? And all these artists are like painting his picture, putting wings, putting, all these things on him, who they feel he represents. Then what did people feel or think about the statues, the people of the statues? Maybe they were horrible people, but they represented a thing, a change. They represented an ideology that, moved things forward. I'm just saying, I'm done with all the statues. Paint a picture so we could paint over it when we feel like not watching it, looking at it anymore, and keep it moving.
That's terrible, Kat.
What?
That's just terrible.
Unless it's gonna be my statue, of course. Unless it's a statue of me. Then we can keep it up for years and years. Nah.
That's funny.
Anyways, I'm just saying.
So another one. So we're talking about apparently there is a area of Seattle that's been carved out for Antifa.
Chaz, are we referring to the location that is now being known as Chaz?
Yeah, Chaz.
Ain't that so crazy?
They might as well call it Che.
You know what's funny about that? So this is a gaggle of folk who I guess were being supported by some kind of welfare system because none of them seem to be very productive otherwise. And now, so they had no leadership, right? They went in there as a commune, as a collective unit. They took over these streets. The first thing they did, what did they do, Juan? They built a wall. You fight against Trump building a wall to protect the United States, yet you take over 6 city blocks or 4 city blocks in the United States, and the first thing you do is build a wall to keep everybody else out, or maybe to trap the people who were there in, right? Because there's still actual residents and homeowners and stuff in that 6 block area. So then the next thing they did was start policing themselves.
Oh, God.
Remember, they don't like the police, remember?
Yeah. God.
Then they shut down all of the journalists, beating people up, throwing people out. So no freedom of speech, a militia police force, a border wall. They're doing exactly the opposite of what they're saying that the country that they want to live in.
Wow.
The exact opposite. And then their justice system is like, we suspect you of having done this. We're going to beat you up. But then when we find out that we're wrong, like, oh, well, I guess it wasn't that way.
They don't have a justice system.
It's so crazy.
It's not a justice system. It's an injustice system.
Oh, and wait. Sorry. I forgot the piece, the creme de la creme.
What?
They don't want no government interference. They want to rule themselves. But they put a checklist of shit that, like a supply list of stuff that they needed so that people could donate.
Who are they? The Vatican?
They need body soap and antiseptic wipes. They need socks, shoes, like regular food. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, and they're collecting a fee. Extortion. This is called extortion. They're collecting a fee from the businesses that they trapped in there so that they could have protection from them.
That is crazy. That's some mafia type stuff. Oh, my God.
Exactly. You mad at Trump, but you do the most extreme version of what he's trying to do to protect the country. And then you need us to donate supplies for your life. How are they going to the bathroom, Juan? How are they using the potty? That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
That's all I want to know.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen there. They're going to probably have to send the National Guard in there.
They got to shut that shit down. First of all, as soon as they started moving a barricade, it was a problem. Okay? It was a problem. Like, you didn't make it. You didn't buy it. You didn't spend money to sustain any of the businesses that are in there. And how do the business owners feel? Like, you are now trapped where a police force is not even coming in to rescue you.
Yeah. They can't make money. Customers can't get in there. Not real customers.
Who's doing what? They're captive.
Yeah, wow.
They're being held captive and no one is going to rescue them. This is the state that we have right now. And the mayor, no, not the mayor. Well, the mayor, oh my God, forget it. They're like delusional. She's calling it a peaceful, like a parade. It's like a festival. It's a festival.
No, this is like, it's not a festival. It's like, you ever seen New Jack City? This is like when Nino Brown and the Cash Money Brothers took over the Carter Apartments. That's what this is like. This is not a parade. It's not a festival.
It's a hijacking.
Yeah, I mean they're basically holding hostages there.
They're terrorists. What else can you call them if not terrorists?
This is The Cure.